And we are live. Hello, and welcome to this self-empowerment hangout. I'm here with my guest, Maya Rote. Hello, Maya.
Hi.
And we're here to share with you a little bit about DIP Lite through sharing our experience with it. With Maya currently walking the DIP Lite course as a trainee, and myself being a buddy in the course. To you who is watching this hangout right now, I invite you to feel free to ask questions or place comments about points that you would like us to discuss here in this hangout, which you can do on the top right side next to the video. So let's start this hangout off with looking at the question, what is DIP Lite? Especially for those of you watching who are not at all familiar with DIP Lite and who are curious about the topic of discussion for this hangout. Now, to begin answering this question, I'm just going to read the first words that you'll find when you visit the DIP Lite website. I will place a link in the description box if you want to go and check that out. On the website, it says DIP Lite is a free online course where you will learn essential life skills. Then the rest of the homepage is basically an easy-to-read one-page guide explaining a little bit about what to expect when you sign up for the course. And then at the bottom of the page, you will get a little box where you can already sign up and pretty much start the course immediately. So in this hangout, we're going to try to give you a little peek into what DIP Lite is all about, what it's like to walk the course, and how the buddy support system of the course works, and what you might learn and gain from doing this course. So to start off, I'm going to let Maya here share with you a little bit about what her experience has been with the course so far. So Maya, I'm just going to go into your background a little bit first. Like, how did you find out about DIP Lite and what made you decide to sign up for it?
Okay, so hello everybody. So I actually have been involved with the Destiny work and the Destiny material for just about 7 years. And a few months ago, I was listening to an interview on EQUAF, and I was at a place in my life where I haven't been really applying myself as much as I would like to with the, the Destiny process and the material. So I defined and redefined the word starting over. And I saw it implemented in many aspects of my life. And specifically, I decided that I want to start over my process. I want to have a fresh start. And I wanted to give myself that opportunity. So I had already known about DIP Lite, and actually I've walked it, I've read through it before. So I knew that that was the place for me to get started and to reintroduce myself with the foundation of the material, and really specifically what, and not so much background, but specifically what I really wanted was to restart developing the practice of walking the process, the consistency of it, and that's something huge that I've been benefiting from since I've started. So I restarted just about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago-ish.
Okay, cool. So maybe this would be a good time to a little where DIP Lite comes from and what it's originated from, because you mentioned Destiny, and people who aren't familiar with DIP Lite will most likely not be familiar with Destiny.
Right.
Basically, Destiny already has like an online community and an online course called DIP Pro. This is basically like a very, very in-depth course that you can walk to really explore your own mind, where you are guided through the layers of your mind, so to speak, so that you can develop self-awareness, develop self-insight and the ability of self-change. So where DIP Lite comes in is that because DIP Pro was such an in-depth course, we noticed that it might be difficult for people out there, in the mainstream kind of world to really, easily step into such a thing. That does require quite a bit of effort from a person to, to push themselves, to really develop themselves throughout this course. So DIP Lite was designed to make it easier for people to dip their toe into developing self-awareness, dip their toe into getting to know their own mind, and things like that.
May I add on that? I completely agree. I'm a product of, so I started walking DIP Pro, and the thing is that for me, there's so many lifelong habits that need to be changed. Like you said, it's a process of self-change, and the way that DIP Lite is designed right now, it really is. It's like walking me hand in hand at where I am at the moment, with consistency not being the strongest habit, for me, or even the willingness to face yourself and see the layers of yourself and your beingness and what you want to unravel and who you want to become. Mm-hmm. So really the way I've witnessed the structure of having first the DIP Pro and then DIP Lite coming as a result of a need that came up from the people that were walking, and myself included, as being like needing something that introduces you softly into this huge world of self-awareness that, like you said, it requires effort from the perspective of you need to have the willingness to go there. Mm-hmm. And what you find always isn't, pink and rosy. So, and they actually talk about that in DIP Lite about, and we might touch about that, the resistance that comes up when you actually are making the decision to face yourself. So in that sense, having the course be very step-by-step and gradual, and it has been very supportive for me.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, even though it's not that easy to go into kind of getting to know your own mind and really getting into a process of introspecting, I think a lot of people do, and this is something that we realize, like many people do actually want that and are looking for that, are looking for something to kind of guide them through, or some kind of clue that they can follow to start that process of like getting to know themselves a bit better, and also start the process of like changing themselves, like creating change in their lives, But the only problem that we found is that with DIP Pro, it was like a little bit heavy. So, DIP Lite is just like a nice little stepping stone for people who are like beginning to kind of get into that process of introspection and getting to know themselves. And that's kind of the starting point of why that was and how that was,
right? How
it came about.
Yeah, it's really a door. It opens the door and invites you to come in, and it can be walked. I mean, I've known the material and I'm gaining so much out of it, but at the same time, it can be walked by people that have never seen the material before. It's really designed for beginners, which still has the depth of the process in it, but in a light way, hence the name.
Yeah. So, have you previously walked any, self-development type courses or programs or workshops before you got into DIP Lite?
Right. So, yes, I've been in the self-development, self-awareness, walking process stuff for quite some time, like well before I was introduced to Destiny. There's always been like this pull that I have from, like, I know, well, really it was like, I knew I was like trapping myself in my own mind. I knew that I'm my own biggest limitation, and I had no idea what do I do with this knowledge, right? Like, how do I not be my own biggest limitation? And that's been kind of and there's been ups and downs and different genres of process that I've walked, but they've all kind of were pulling into that place of, recognizing what is real, like what is real, as opposed to what do kind of the inner experience that I live in that I think is real, what really is. So yeah, I've been exploring things since 2003-ish. And before Destiny, I was kind of a seminar-holic. Can you say that?
Oh, you just said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's become almost like an obsession, right? Like more about becoming a seeker, right? It was about going to the next teacher and finding more information, and going to the next seminar and getting more information. And there was this, this feeling that I would get, like, as if I'm giving myself this, I'm freeing myself, but really there was a little bit of kind of running around in circles. But yeah, so I've had my share of experience in a few different aspects of workshops, and I still actually am. There's a few groups in my community that I'm involved with that I still go and learn from. Yeah.
So my next question is, what would you say, now that you've already walked, with DIP Lite for over a month, what would you say are the differences that you've noticed so far, or what is it about DIP Lite that stands out for you based on your experiences with different courses and programs out there?
Wow. So the first thing that comes to mind is that there isn't a teacher, there isn't a guru, there isn't someone sitting on a chair telling me and showing me, where I can then listen to and kind of put the authority in their own hands. It's quite the opposite. It's, yes, there's some written information that you get to explore, but the whole process is about you actually revealing yourself to yourself. And for me, maybe other people as well, but I do have the tendency of giving my authority to other people and then kind of making it a teacher-student relationship when they're a little bit more and I'm a little bit less, and they get to call the shots and tell me what's true about me, and I get to, feel the self-doubt, and all that is removed in the way that the program is designed. It doesn't exist there. Like, there is a buddy, and we'll talk about that later. There is a buddy that supports me, but they're not like pulling me. I'm not following them, right? So that's one thing that I think is huge. So I get to sit in my own living room. Nobody gets to tell me if I'm right or wrong, or there isn't that relationship there. I read the material, and mainly it's doing the exercises, it's writing the assignments, which brings me to the second point of value that I see, is that a lot of the seminars that I've done are, let's say, a weekend once every few months, or a weekly meeting where you go every week and you meet. And specifically how this is designed is where, like, the assignments are a daily assignment. Now, I don't have to do them every day. Nobody's going to punish me if I don't do them every day, but it's designed to encourage me to develop a daily practice. And because it's all in writing, then you can actually see the progression of that practice and the accumulation of that practice. Like, just before this, we started this talk, I looked at the at the syllabus, and I could see all these, days that I've written, So it's really helping me to develop a daily practice of writing, where other programs I haven't, maybe it works for other people, but it hasn't worked for me to actually, okay, roll my sleeves up and actually do it every day,
Yeah, so it's basically the point of like you being your own or becoming your own teacher in a way. I mean, or driving force, because you're the one who has to always go back to the assignment, make sure that you actually do like walk the course, because you could just as easily like give up and nobody's gonna really, say that you need to come back, or nobody's gonna say that you're doing something wrong or anything of the sort. Like it's all up to you.
Completely. And I have to say there is the buddy system, which for me, because I do have that tendency, knowing that there's a buddy on the other side, like an actual human person alive that cares enough to become a buddy, right? And I know that they see if I accomplish the assignments or not. So for me, I've used that as a point of, it's like an accountability buddy, even though they're never going to say, hey, Maya, why have you stopped writing? Like, it's never actually, it's like I've placed it on them. Like, okay, I have a buddy, somebody's watching, I'm not alone, somebody cares, let me do this. Let me make that a point of movement for me. So I'm still not at a point where I can just be, on the moon and I would write every day. And it's been very supportive to know that there's a person on the other side. And I've used that as a way to make myself write every day. So yeah, still walking there.
Yeah, that's cool. Now that you mention it, it's like with the buddy support system, it doesn't become a point of like feeling the need to follow other people or do as other people do just because they're also doing it, but it's more like it's just nice to know that somebody else is there, because we do have that kind of human connection, like a tendency to kind of want some kind of feedback from other people,
right?
But it's not from the perspective of somebody telling you who you are or what you're doing. It's just somebody who's there to kind of answer your questions or go like, well done on the assignment, or give some perspectives here and there.
Yeah, it's actually been really supportive, because like there was one lesson where I was writing about anxiety and fear, and I noticed that I didn't quite recognize the difference, right? So my buddy read what I wrote, and they wrote right after, like, oh, I'm going to send you the link, that I'll look for a link and I'll send you something that goes deeper into that. So you can really use it also as a structure as a platform to ask deeper questions and open up points that are unclear. Because, I mean, again, this course is designed in a way where they're taking all this massive information and really distilling it to, basically it's a 4 to 6 months course, and it's, very bite-sized. So there's a lot of layers in the information. It's very easy to read it and like, like you recognize that there's more that can be told about that point. Like you recognize that it's not all of it. So you can ask for support, and your buddy can give you links and more articles, and you can go really as deep as you want to go from that perspective. That's huge, in my opinion.
Yeah, so it's not like a cold and dry kind of course where you're kind of left to your own devices.
Yeah,
so
no.
You know that you have real support.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
And just one more thing in regards to the differences between the other seminars and the Destiny material. I mean, again, the DIP Lite specifically is designed in a very progressive way, where it starts with, and maybe we'll touch about it later, but it kind of builds up on top of itself, which is great. But the material itself, I've always found that, and I told you this before we went live, there's something just very grounded, simple, clear, direct about the information and about the practice. There's not much to like, oh, like spirituality, and you can believe these things or things that the teacher tells you, and you kind of hear it and it really doesn't land well with you, but because there's something just that's very clear, precise, principle based, like it's very kind of 1 + 1 is 2, right? It's very just very simple. When you actually understand what it is, it's just very simple in that regard.
I think I know what you mean. Like, it's not requiring you to like believe that something is so. In a way, the course is in fact inviting you to find out for yourself.
Yes, and like there's something about the truth that I see in it that is very kind of like progressive, like it's one brick at a time. It's very logical, like it makes sense, and you can break it down. And my background is physics and math and science and stuff like that, so maybe that's why I'm seeing it like that. But it's always like from the beginning, it's just always been a huge point of value where there isn't any, I've never read any of the information and been like, wait a minute, that doesn't land right with that. Like there's a conflict, inner conflict in the material. Like it's always just been building on top of each other, very progressively, very simple and very clear, kind of like a obvious evolution of the information rather than in other courses. Sometimes it feels like people are just talking they're just saying things that don't actually sit on anything, they just sound good, and feel good, and, you can play around with them a little bit, but often they're not like grounded in reality.
Yeah, like I've actually noticed and experienced the same thing. And it's something that you will see more and realize more when you do walk the course. When you do kind of develop that groundedness inside of yourself, then you will actually notice the difference. And also what I can say about the reason why that is the case with DIP Lite, the reason why it's like scientific, almost like it's real, is because it's created by people who have already themselves walked a process of self-investigation, of getting to know their mind, of getting to know all the pathways in the mind, all the traps in the mind, getting to know the process that is to be walked for self-change to be real. And it's those people who have, in a way, distilled all their insights and realizations, who've worked together to pour all of that into a course for others. So it's like people supporting people to be able to kind of walk the same process just in an easier way. And like the way the course is set up, it's like you get a little bit of information about, okay, this is, for instance, thoughts. Like this is one component of the mind, like thoughts or feelings or emotions or memories. This is how it works. So now I invite you to, go into your own daily experiences and have a look at where can you see your thoughts? Like where can you see this component in action in your own life? So it makes the information real because you are practicing to see these things for yourself.
Right.
Which is very valuable.
It's extremely valuable, and it's actually pretty amazing how, I guess everybody's different, but my experience is that since I started walking, I'm much more noticing. I'm much more noticing when I go into, during the day, I notice when I go into thoughts, and I notice when I'm kind of trapped in like an emotion or something. There's much more awareness, even just within like a month and a half of writing every day and giving yourself that opportunity, like 20, 30 minutes in the evening, I'm giving myself some time, and I'm, looking for an event and writing about it. And it's really, it's just that practice of paying attention every day makes me more aware of it already.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's like one of the key pillars as well in the process of, you know, developing awareness, developing self-awareness is to, practice, is to really place it into practice, in everyday practice. That's how you change anything. That's how you walk a process of change.
Right. Right.
I just want to say hi to Julio, because he placed a comment saying hello. Hi, Julio. Thanks for being here with us and watching this Hangout. Feel free to place any comments or questions that come up. So my next question for you, Maya, is what would you say that, since starting this course, and you've touched a little bit on this already, what would you say that you've learned so far for yourself since you started walking this course? Like, in other words, how would you say that this DIP Lite course has been able to assist and support you within your day-to-day life so far?
Right. So like I said earlier, I think I'm a little bit more aware. Like there's it kind of feels like an opening. Like maybe I was more tunnel vision, kind of just moving in my day. And now there's a little bit, it's a slowing down and an opening, right? I'm just more noticing, like at work, I can sit at work and it used to be more where I'm like, oh, I don't want to, like those moments after lunch where I just don't want to work right now. I just want to take a nap. And instead there's like, it's like I'm noticing it. It gave me almost like a point of, like if before it would be, I just don't want to work right now. Now it's like, oh, I'm noticing I just don't want to work right now. I mean, I won't lie, I still fall into that trap of, feeling bad or whatever after lunch, but there's more space between that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like more of just an awareness of what happens inside of yourself in terms of how your mind moves.
Right, like more, and it feels like a little bit of a slowing down maybe of, yeah. I've been also practicing breath. I've been, there's one of the lessons where they talk about the 4-count breathing and just breathing. So I've been practicing that a little bit more, and I've been doing that every evening, and that's been also really helpful, like in slowing myself down, kind of grounding myself. And really, I mean, for me, consistency has been a big challenge, and I have like this, I'm just excited about how I've been consistent. Like I'm giving myself a tap on the back. There's a feeling of like I'm doing it, and I'm doing it, and I know that I'm doing something that's supporting me, and that's valuable for me to do something. It's like a daily doses of self-support, right? It's like my little shot of self-support every day. And
so is that maybe something that you've never experienced much?
I feel like now the starting point is different. I feel like now when I started this about a month and a half ago, there was a little bit of, I've had enough with not supporting myself and seeing where that goes. And my starting point this time was different in a sense where I'm actually walking it for myself now. And kind of I made the decision for myself to walk, and I'm doing it. And I think in that there's something new for me. Yeah, because I think before when I was walking it or other courses that I've done, it's always there's been a different flavor to it. Like I'm doing it because I think I should, or I'm doing it because somebody else thinks I should.
Yeah.
Or because it looks good, or because it's fun, or because, many other reasons. Or because I'm trying to get, like, what am I trying to get out of it? And this time around, it just feels like it doesn't have that so much. It's more like naked in a way. more simple. I think the word simple keeps coming up for me around this, because it is very kind of plain in that way. Like there's no big fireworks, right?
Yeah. Well, what comes up for me when you're, talking about the difference with other kind of, spirituality type courses is that for me, what I'm seeing in terms of the difference is like with other courses, you've got more of a feeling that just kind of carries you along, and you kind of follow the feeling that's attached to the course, and you kind of automatically do the things that other people are doing, or that the course is suggesting, because of the feelings that you're experiencing. But like with DIP Lite, there is no such kind of feelings being invoked. Like you're kind of having to work with yourself, and you're having to kind of develop self-motivation rather than feelings motivating you, or like things like self-drive or self-discipline, rather than, because you don't have those feelings driving you or motivating you or moving you forward into doing things. All you have is like yourself and your own decision to do something.
Right. And it's very true. Like when I sit down and do my assignment or read it, there is, for me, because my history has been not being consistent. So every time I sit down and do it, there's like a little win, So there is that feeling that I've brought into it. Like, yeah, I'm doing it. But you're right. The activity itself doesn't carry a predicted feeling with it. It's not like, a lot of other things where you can anticipate that you're going to feel warm and fuzzy, or it's, kind of like you said, kind of that wave of feeling that it's going to take you on. So it doesn't have that. It's very unpredictable in what comes up. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to open something up, and I'm going to reveal a piece of me to me,
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, hi.
Yeah. And I find that too, like it's that aspect of you are literally having to do it for yourself. Like you are with yourself. If this is something you do for yourself, and even though it's like, that's how it should be, it's like very challenging.
It can be,
It's like that point of just being alone with yourself, that point of really doing something alone with and for yourself, like with kind of other courses or spirituality type of programs that I've had experience with. It's mostly, what drove me was mostly the aspect of being together with other people. So in a way, it's like I may have felt or believed like I was doing it for myself and my spiritual growth, but in self-honesty, like it was more the aspect of, other people being there with me that motivated me to do what I did. And I never really truly looked inside of myself on like a deep, real level.
And actually what you're saying brings up a point that's fascinating to me, because when I'm doing things in groups or with a teacher, it's very easy to be lost, like to have the experience that I'm having and then project that onto everything around me. Like, oh, I'm feeling good because I'm in a group. I need groups. I'm feeling this way because the teacher did something wrong. He's bad, or whatever. Like there's a lot of projections that happen. And when you're doing this course, the Destiny, DIP Lite, with yourself, all those things still come up within me, but it's just me. So it's like, it's a very, like, you have to be honest with yourself and see, oh, right, like all these comparisons and judgments and resentments and feeling good and like all these range of feelings and emotions and experiences that you normally in a different situation they would happen to me, and I would project them on everybody around me, right? Then here you can't, you're still going to see them, but you can't project them on anybody because you're sitting there by yourself and you're experiencing it. And then you actually get to investigate and see, like, wait a minute, like what am I actually participating in? And take ownership for it. which is a big part of why there's a challenge, because we're used to not taking ownership for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't want to be the one responsible for my own frustration, right? But it's also very empowering, because if you're the one responsible for it, then you can actually change it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have some control over it. You have direct contact with it. It's you.
Yeah. It's definitely very empowering to have that kind of to challenge yourself, to be with yourself, and ask yourself questions, and really like kind of sit yourself down and really look at things for yourself, without having necessarily the distraction of having like a group or other people there, like really just being with you.
Right. And again, just the way the course is designed, like now I'm in a lesson where I'm asked to write a little blurb about my day, and then actually ask myself, like, notice the emotion, notice what came up, and actually ask myself a bunch of questions and then answer those questions. And it really requires me to like really take a moment, right? Like I can't do it with the TV on when other stuff is going, like I need to just take a moment and be with myself. And I think in today's world where, everything's moving on so fast and there's entertainment in every corner and like these short-term distractions, then it's very unique to actually take a moment, and like you have to give yourself that time. You can't do it without doing it, like you can't bullshit yourself through this.
Yeah, and that's like the really neat thing about DIP Lite, I think, is like the process of kind of getting to know yourself, and introspection is in a way something that you can only do kind of alone, like you're alone with yourself. But with DIP Lite, it's like you're not just by yourself. It's like you get a platform designed by people who have already walked that entire process, who knows what kind of support you really need. So it's like you have the platform, so it becomes easier to apply that kind of introspection.
Yeah.
Where you're you're still alone, but you're getting support.
Right. You're not just out in space. And that platform, I think it's like just brilliantly designed. I'm really, really appreciating that, like how this platform was designed. It's just been so supportive for me, so it's exactly how you placed it. Like you do it by yourself on your own, but you have this platform to walk on. And you have a buddy on the other side, which if you want to share a little bit about your buddy experience, because that's been super supportive for me as well. So maybe you can share something.
So I'm a buddy in DIP Lite, and what I've learned, I've been able to do that because I've already like walked quite a process within DIP Pro, and have gone into quite a process with self-introspection and applying the tools of creating self-change in my life. And something that DIP Lite has supported me with is especially how to like place myself in the shoes of other people, because people who start walking DIP Lite don't necessarily see things the way I see it, don't necessarily have like this background of awareness of their mind, or don't necessarily see all these components that I might have kind of developed my awareness of through my walking of DIP Pro. So it's kind of helped me humble myself a lot by just kind of placing myself in other people's shoes and seeing things through their eyes, and then asking myself the question of like, okay, how can I best support this person? Like, what kind of perspective am I able to give this person in relation to their assignment that, that is supportive for them, or and at the same time that's challenging them to maybe look a little bit deeper into things, and give them basically the support that I would have wanted for myself in the beginning of my process. Yeah, so that's essentially what it's been like for me as a buddy, which I'm very grateful for. To be able to, support other people. I mean, it's something that I think many of us enjoy doing, is being able to support others. And that's something that, you'll eventually be able to do as you walk your own processes. Like at a certain point, you have that ability of also showing other people the same things that you've been able to show yourself, or that other people have been able to show you. It's a very gratifying thing.
And it's very much, I like how you worded it earlier, like you have to walk the process yourself before you can support others, which is also very different than what you sometimes find out there, right? Where anybody can be the teacher of something, and it brings in a lot of trust, I think, knowing that in the relationship, like the buddy relationship, and knowing that the person has walked a process, and they're just giving unconditionally from their experience and from their from where they're at. It's pretty cool.
And it's also like, you're not really standing in the position of like, I mean, how teachers or therapists or people in that position, where they usually come from my experience, is like telling you who you are, like telling you something about yourself, where you're supposed to like kind of believe that that's how it is. Whereas here, it's more like you just stand as a support for the other person. You just stand as a point of understanding for the other person. It's like you're not telling them things. You're actually, it's like you're having to develop the ability to support another person to realize things for themselves. And that is something very difficult to do. Like, I mean, if you're, for instance, like a psychologist, someone who kind of takes in knowledge about how the mind works, and then they're able to kind of say that knowledge to other people, but like they themselves haven't gone and walked an actual process of understanding their own mind, understanding themselves, and as well understanding how other people's mind works in a way where they're able to not necessarily go tell that other person who they are, what they need to do, but in a way where they see what that person needs to discover these things for themselves and empower themselves. And it's that kind of point of empowerment that's very unique about this course and about being a buddy in this course.
Yeah, and just in relation to the psychology or the teacher as opposed to buddy, even the word, I'm going to my psychologist, has like this authority in it. Like this person is gonna help guide me, whatever, or teacher, right? And in buddy, I mean, buddy is a friend. It's like, it's the word itself is designed to be like, we're equals, as we all are, and I get to support you as an equal, and you're supported by supporting me. Which is what you said, which is fantastic. Like you get to support yourself as you're supporting someone else, and someone else, like me, by walking DIP Lite, I'm giving you the opportunity, or my buddy the opportunity to support. It's like it's very equal, and doesn't have that in it.
That hierarchy structure, I suppose.
Right. Yes.
Like, because everybody's still in their own process. I'm still in my own process. Like, just because I may have, kind of realized certain things already doesn't in any way mean that I now have some form of authority over another person. Like, I'm still learning. Every time I buddy another person, I'm still learning about myself, about, how to place myself in another person's shoes, how to see through their eyes, how to, learn more about reality, about myself. So it's very interactive.
Yeah,
which really cool. Which kind of makes it more real. Yeah. Cool. So I would say that we're pretty much at our time here. So is there anything that you might like to share in relation to DIP?
Yes. I just strongly recommend it for anybody that has a sense that they want to learn about themselves a little bit more, and you want to discover yourself and to discover reality, really. I mean, if you don't know yourself, how can you even know reality, right? And I just totally recommend this course, and I recommend walking it. Just be open, go through the information. You might, react to something, notice your reactions, notice what comes up in you. Like, as long as you don't know who you are, right? Like, I don't know why am I reacting to this? Have that be a point that you inquire about, and just kind of walk the process open, see what comes up in you, see what you react to, see what you enjoy or dislike, or just notice it. Use this platform as a way to discover yourself, to reconnect with yourself, and at the end of the course, then put it down if you want to, or continue further if you decide if this is your path. But I just recommend give it a shot. Give yourself a shot. Give yourself the gift and practice it. Also, don't take it in just as knowledge and information, and test it out for yourself. Do the assignments, write them, see what comes up in you, see what happens for you when you do this every day, like when you give yourself this time, and then let us know.
Cool, that was an awesome closing point. So as the last point, I'll just give out the link to the DIP Lite website, although I'll also just put it add it to the description later on. But so you can find the website at www.lite with ite.destinyprocess.com. Okay. And I think that was it for this Hangout. Thank you for joining me, Maya, and
thank you for having me.
Maybe till next time.
Yeah.
Bye.